You've heard it 100 times. Renting is just throwing money away. Your uncle says it at Thanksgiving, your coworker says it when you mention your lease renewal. Some random person on Reddit says it like it's a fact carved into stone. And here's the thing, it feels true. Every month, you hand over $1,500, $1,800, maybe $2,200 to your landlord, and you get nothing back. No equity, no ownership, no asset. So the math seems obvious, right? Buying equals building wealth. Renting equals burning cash. But what if that entire framing is wrong? What if the people repeating that line have never actually run the numbers? And what if, when you do run them, the answer is a lot more complicated than anyone wants to admit? Stay with me, because I'm about to show you the actual math on is renting throwing money away, and some of it is going to surprise you. Let's start with the assumption everyone makes. When people say renting is throwing money away, they're comparing your rent check to zero, like you paid $1,800 and got absolutely nothing in return. But that's not what's actually happening. When you rent, you're paying for a place to live. You're paying for shelter, which is a basic human need, not a luxury. The real question isn't, did I get equity? The real question is, what did home ownership actually cost compared to renting? And that's where things get interesting. Because here's what most people completely miss. Buying a home comes with a massive list of costs that nobody puts in the throwing money away column. Let's run through them. PIN cost number 1, mortgage interest. In the early years of a 30-year mortgage, the majority of your payment goes to interest, not principal, not equity, not ownership. On a $350,000 loan at 7% interest, your monthly payment is roughly $2,329. In month 1, about $2,042 of that goes straight to interest. Only $287 builds equity. So tell me, is that throwing money away? Because last time I checked, writing a $2,042 check to a bank and getting nothing back sounds a lot like renting from a bank. Cost 2, property taxes. The average American homeowner pays about 1.1% of their home's value in property taxes every year. On a $400,000 home, that's $4,400 a year, $367 a month. Gone. You don't get that back. It doesn't build equity, it's just gone. Every single year, for as long as you own the home. Cost 3, homeowner's insurance. Average cost around $1,400 to $2,000 per year. That's another $120 to $165 a month. Also not building equity, also just gone. Cost 4, maintenance and repairs. Here's one people really underestimate. The standard rule in real estate is to budget 1% of your home's value per year for maintenance. On a $400,000 home, that's $4,000 a year, $333 a month. New roof, HVAC system, water heater, plumbing issues, foundation cracks. Your landlord covers all of that. You cover none of it as a renter. Now add it all up. On that $400,000 home with a 7% mortgage, interest, year 1 average, $2,000 per month. Property taxes, $367 per month. Insurance, $150 per month. Maintenance, $333 per month. That's $2,850 a month that is, by any honest definition, thrown away. Not building equity, not returning to you, just the cost of owning. And we haven't even touched the down payment yet. But the surprise is, this isn't an argument against buying. It's an argument against the lazy math that acts like renting has no competitor. So let's do the comparison properly. Imagine 2 people, same income, same city, both starting from scratch. Person A buys a $400,000 home. They put 20% down. That's $80,000 out of pocket, plus closing costs, roughly another $8,000 to $12,000. So they're spending around $90,000 just to get in the door. Person B rents a comparable apartment for $1,800 a month. and they take that $90,000 and invest it in a low-cost index fund. Now, over 10 years, home values historically appreciate about 4% per year on average. That $400,000 home grows to roughly $592,000. Sounds great for person A, right? But person B's $90,000, invested at the stock market's historical average of roughly 7% real return, grows to about $177,000. And that's before accounting for the monthly difference. If person A's total housing costs run $3,200 a month, mortgage plus taxes plus insurance plus maintenance, and person B pays $1,800 in rent, person B has $1,400 a month left over. If person B invests that difference too, over 10 years, that's an additional $230,000 plus in invested assets. This is crazy. In many scenarios, the renter who invests the difference comes out ahead of the buyer, at least in the short to medium term. Now, I'm not telling you not to buy. Seriously, I'm not. Because there's a massive factor we haven't talked about yet: leverage. When you buy a $400,000 home with $80,000 down, you're controlling a $400,000 asset with $80,000 of your own money. If that home goes up 10%, you didn't make 10% on $80,000, you made 10% on $400,000. That's a $40,000 gain on an $80,000 investment, a 50% return. You cannot replicate that with a regular brokerage account. That leverage is real and it's powerful. Not only that, there's the emotional component: stability, permanence, the ability to paint the walls, get a dog, put down roots. Those things have value that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet. But here's what I want you to take from this. The renting is throwing money away line, it's not math, it's a slogan. The actual math depends on your local market. In some cities, renting is dramatically cheaper than owning. In others, the opposite is true. How long you plan to stay. Buying only wins over time. If you're there less than 5 years, the transaction costs alone can erase your gains. What you do with the difference. A renter who invests is building wealth. A renter who spends the difference is not. Interest rates. At 3%, the math leans toward buying. At 7%, the rent calculation gets a lot more competitive. The honest truth is this: renting is not automatically throwing money away, and buying is not automatically building wealth. Both paths have costs, both paths have trade-offs. The difference is which costs are visible and which ones are hidden. Everyone sees the rent check. Nobody talks about the $2,000 in monthly interest, the $4,000 roof repair, or the $90,000 that never got to compound. And that's the real problem. Not that renting is bad, not that buying is bad. It's that the conversation has been dumbed down into a bumper sticker, and that bumper sticker is costing people real decisions. The reality is, the best financial move depends on your numbers, your market, and your timeline. Not your uncle's opinion, not a Reddit comment, your math. So here's what I want you to do right now. Before your next lease renewal, before your next conversation with a real estate agent, before you let anyone guilt you about renting, run your own numbers. Compare your total rent cost to the full cost of ownership in your area, not just the mortgage payment, everything. Because the moment you see the real numbers, you stop feeling guilty about your rent check and you start making smarter decisions. If this video helped you see housing costs differently, drop a comment below. Tell me, are you team rent or team buy right now, and why? And if you want to go deeper on the actual rent versus buy calculation for your city, I've got another video on exactly that. Watch it next, because the housing market is broken. But your math doesn't have to be.